Hi, this is Suha Kwak from POSTECH, Korea. In this presentation, I will introduce our new domain generalization method using web-crawled images. It's a joint work with my students from POSTECH, Namyeop and Taeyong, and Dr. Lan and Professor Chong from Microsoft Research Asia. The problem in this work is synthetic to real domain generalization for semantic segmentation, where using synthetic data generated by 3D rendering, we aim to learn semantic segmentation networks that well generalize to any arbitrary real domains latent in training. This task is challenging due to the substantial appearance gap between the source and target domains. Moreover, the learned model should work well on multiple target domains with substantial appearance variations due to different geolocation, weather conditions, dates, and times, and for example. Further, we have no access to the target domains during training, so we have to learn networks that well generalize to multiple unseen domains using only synthetic images. There are a few existing methods for this challenging task. A pioneering work randomly stylizes synthetic training images using a subset of the ImageNet dataset as style sources. Segmentation models trained with such stylized images could be style invariant. Thus, they are better generalized to target domains whose styles are unknown. On the other hand, a follow-up research encourages the representation learned using synthetic images to be similar with those of an ImageNet pre-trained network to prevent the learned representation from being biased to synthetic styles of training images. However, the first method requires a very expensive stylization technique like cycleGAN, and the style sources from the ImageNet often do not reflect the target application scenarios, like autonomous driving. The second one is also limited by the knowledge of the ImageNet dataset, which provides only a narrow variation of natural images and could be irrelevant to the target task as well. To overcome these limitations, we present a web image-assisted domain generalization method, dubbed wedge. Our method consists of 3 steps. In the first step, it crawls web images with search keywords relevant to the target task, so that the collected images are task relevant as well as realistic. More importantly, the crawled images exhibit a large variety of real image styles that potentially cover latent testing domains. Thus, they, as style sources, may help segmentation models virtually experience unseen target domains. In the second step, wedge trains a segmentation model with synthetic data and their ground truth labels, while injecting styles of the web images on the fly. To be specific, we replace neural styles of intermediate convolutional feature maps of synthetic training images with those of web images during feed-forward propagation of the style synthetic images. This gives illusions of diverse real images while learning segmentation models using synthetic data. Also, for reliable, efficient, and on-the-fly style transfer, we introduce a style injection algorithm. In the last step, the web images are used directly for training as well as for stylization. To this end, the model trained in the second step is applied to the web images for generating their pseudo-segmentation labels. This step enhances generalization capability of the segmentation models by learning them directly on real images. Let me introduce a bit more details of each step. So in the first step, wedge crawls images on Flickr using the search keyword driving and road, since our target application scenario is autonomous driving. As a result, it collected more than 4,000 images with CC0 licenses. Using these web images has several advantages since they provide a variety of real image styles that potentially cover target domains and are more relevant to the target task than those in the ImageNet dataset. And let me introduce the details of the style injection in the second step of wedge. A neural style of an image is here represented by channel-wise mean and standard deviation of activations in a particular intermediate feature map. And the style injection is implemented by first whitening the activations of synthetic images using their mean and standard deviation, and then translating and scaling them with the mean and standard deviation of activations of a web crawled images. This process is applied to multiple layers of segmentation networks. Also, its non-parametric nature and low computation cost enables fast and on-the-fly style manipulation. And by focusing more on styles and disregarding contents of web images, the style injection module allows us to reliably utilize web images even when their contents are not relevant to the target task. Finally, in the third step, Wedge generates pseudo-labels of the web images by applying the model in the second step. Note that the pseudo-labels disregard pixels whose predictions are unreliable to alleviate the negative impact of errors in the pseudo-labels. Then Wedge trains the segmentation model obtained in the second step further by using the web images as well as the synthetic ones as training data. We first quantitatively compare our method with the previous work on domain generalization. In this experiment, the models are trained on the GTA5 dataset, the synthetic dataset, and tested on 3 real image datasets, cityscapes, BDDS, and mapillary. We also evaluate their performance while varying the backbone architecture of their segmentation networks. As can be seen in this table, our method outperforms all the competitors in every combination of backbone and tested dataset. Wedge is also compared with previous work in terms of domain generalization from another synthetic dataset called Cynthia to the 3 real-world image datasets. In this experiment also, our method beats the previous work completely. And these are qualitative results of our method. Here the baseline indicates the same segmentation network trained only on the synthetic dataset without considering domain generalization. As shown in this figure, our method segments images accurately in spite of the large appearance gap between the synthetic training and real testing data. Also, the style injection in the second step substantially improved the performance, although adding the third step further enhances the quality of segmentation by, in particular, removing false positives of object classes. We also provide in-depth analysis on our method to better illustrate contributions of each component. First, we investigate the impact of using task-relevant web images. To this end, we trained variants of Wedge that utilizes ImageNet images or web images crawled by the keyword indoor, which simulate the images totally irrelevant to the target application. Our method outperforms all these variants, which suggests that our crawling process is useful and the task relevance of style sources matters. We can also see that the style injection allows to use style source images of irrelevant content reliably. In addition, to demonstrate the advantage of the style injection over the style invariant representation learning, our method is compared with adapt output, which is a domain adversarial learning strategy. And our method significantly outperformed the previous work in our domain generalization setting. Finally, the impact of the number of web images used in our method is verified by evaluating performance while varying the number of web images used in the method. This graph shows that the generalization capability of Wedge has been improved substantially by using only 1,000 web images. But using the whole web images further improved the performance. Okay, in summary, our method is the first attempt to utilize web images for domain generalization of semantic segmentation. And the style injection enables to learn semantic segmentation using only styles of web images efficiently, effectively, and reliably. And by using the web images and their pseudo-labels as training data, we can further improve the generalization capability of the learned models. And as a consequence, Our method outperforms all the existing techniques for domain generalizable semantic segmentation in every setting. Thank you for your attention.
Hello, my name is Chong Luo. I am a principal researcher with the Intelligent Multimedia Group of MSRA. Today, I'm going to talk about pretext task design for unsupervised video representation learning. The title is a bit long. Let's start with the keyword video representation learning, or VRL for short. The task of VRL in deep learning era is to train a neural network, which takes a short clip of video as input and produce a feature embedding that could be used in a variety of downstream tasks. The process to train the model is usually called pre-training, and the learning task used in the pre-training is called pretext task. The key components in video pre-training are backbone network design and pretext design. In this talk, I will focus the discussion on pretext design. In self-supervised learning, where human annotations are not available, pretext tasks can be classified as reconstruction-based, transformation-based, contrastive learning-based, or a combination of the above. In this talk, I will briefly review some of the existing work and then introduce one piece of our recent work, which brings pretext design down to the object level instead of frame or clip level. The basic idea behind reconstruction-based pretext design is to reconstruct the video frames or specific features of the video. Now we already know that reconstructing pixel values or very specific features such as histograms are not necessary nor efficient because the network will be trained to focus too much on low-level details instead of global semantics. Another interesting type of pretext task is transformation-based. The input video clips are intentionally manipulated, such as being rotated or temporarily shuffled, and the network is trained to predict what kind of manipulation was applied to the input clip. For example, a clip is cut into 3 parts and permutated. The network was trained to predict which permutation was applied among the 6 possible choices. The third type of pretext tasks are contrastive learning-based. In contrastive learning, we have the freedom to define positive and negative samples for each characteristic that we want the network to learn. For example, if we want the network to learn shapes, then all the objects with the same shape are treated as positive samples, regardless of their size, color, or texture. In image pre-training, a dominant pretext task is called instance discrimination. 2 patches drawn from the same image are treated as positive samples, and patches from different images are negative samples. Recently, some researchers applied this instance discrimination task to video pre-training and achieved pretty good results. Unsurprisingly, one could design a multitask pretext by combining any 2 or even all 3 types of the above-mentioned tasks. I'm not going into details. Next, I will talk about how we understand this video pre-training problem and how we tackle it. As we all know, video is a type of highly redundant data. What is the key information we want from pre-training? Recall that the purpose of pre-training is to learn the features that downstream tasks need. While downstream tasks may vary, we first focus on the most widely discussed task called action recognition. Let's look at an example. This group of frames are drawn from a sequence labeled as action shot. Imagine you are provided only with the first RGB frame and the 2 bounding boxes indicating the location of an athlete and the football. Then, in the subsequent frames, only the positions of the 2 bounding boxes are provided. Are you able to determine what action this video is about? I believe the answer is positive. So our idea is, if action can be recognized from object, location, and trajectory, then we just let the network to learn object trajectories during pre-training. This is our recent work about VRL that published in CVPR 2021. The code has been made available on GitHub. The pretext task we invented is called catch the patch. The idea is to let the network learn features which could efficiently predict object trajectories. So the input to the network is a short video clip and some query bounding boxes in the first frame. The desired output is the location of the query boxes in all the subsequent frames or trajectories. This pretext task is a prediction task, but it is different from the previous ones where the supervision signal is very easy to obtain. In this proposal, the main challenge is how to obtain the supervision signal or the ground truth of object trajectories. There are at least two ways to obtain the ground truth trajectories. One is to employ modern object detectors and trackers to detect salient objects in the first frame and then track them down in consequent frames. Another way is to generate synthetic data. The first approach uses real data, but the labels might be noisy. The second approach has perfect ground truth trajectories, but the data distribution may deviate from the real data. We adopt the second approach, but use a mix-up idea to create fake videos that look real. Our method has 3 steps. In the first step, we randomly crop a patch from the first frame, put it on a blank canvas. Step 2, we move this patch around according to a predefined trajectory. Sometimes we even make it disappear. Step 3, we overlay the generated video onto the original video to create the mix-up video. We even try to crop up to 3 patches and let them move independently on the canvas. This method works very well. So we evaluate our pre-trained model in the action recognition downstream task and compare it with the models pre-trained in annotation supervised settings. Let's first look at the 2 purple ovals. 86.2 is the top 1 accuracy that our model achieved on the UCF dataset. CTP is the short name of our method, catch the patch. It is pre-trained on K400 dataset without using the labels. The accuracy achieved is much higher than 79.5, which is achieved by a R3D network inflated from a 2D network that is pre-trained using the classification task on ImageNet. On the UCF dataset, our method is not as good as the supervised pre-training, which takes advantage of the action labels on K400. But on another heterogeneous dataset called something, our method performs better, showing a better generalization capability than supervised pre-training. The figure on the right emphasizes the importance of video pre-training. In a downstream task with labeled data, a pre-trained model can make more efficient use of the labels than training from scratch. So now is a brief summary. Representation learning is an important topic in machine learning. The paradigm of pre-training plus fine-tuning has been widely accepted in solving deep learning problems. In VRL pretext design, there are huge challenges, but the opportunities is enormous. So first of all, pretext design is still an open problem because instance discrimination task is still not dominant in video pre-training domain. Second, we conjecture that different pretext tasks are needed for different groups of downstream tasks. And also, video comes with multiple modalities. In addition to the visual clues, we also have audios or speeches or even the text that was translated from the audio. So making use of all the modalities and do a cross-modality pre-training is also a promising direction. This concludes my talk. Thank you very much.
I'm Yuan from Cloud and AI Group. I'm glad to give the talk Visual Representation Learning with Foundation Models. Recently, emerging AI systems based on the foundation models are leading to surprising progress, for example, GPT-3 and CLIP. In this talk, we will demonstrate how to build such foundation models to learn a shareable visual representation from broad data. The foundation model is based on an optimal network architecture and self-supervised learning. And then the representation can be adapted to a wide range of downstream tasks, including classification, object detection, segmentation, and so on. In such a three-layer AI system, transfer learning makes foundation models possible, while scale makes them powerful. Next, we use some examples from our latest work to demonstrate how to develop foundation models for visual representation learning. We will talk about several key factors like optimal architecture, including hierarchical vision transformer and network architecture search, and self-supervised learning for field label transfer. Following these key factors, we further talk about the extension from global representation to local representation learning. When we mention architecture design, we want to recap two typical architectures. One is transformer, widely used in NLP. Another is CNN, popular in computer vision. Which one is better? Transformer consists of dynamic attention layer and thus offers more capacities to fit in with massive and various data. It diffuses global context from the early layers, which captures the interaction across different semantics and regions globally, leading to a better generalization. CNN learns multi-scale features by multi-stage. The convolutional kernel is shift scale and distortion invariant. It offers better modeling of local spatial structure. So we have to ask ourselves a question. Can we bridge two worlds together and develop a new elegant fused architectures? We call the new architecture as the hierarchical vision transformer. Here we use our reasoned convolutional vision transformer as an example. On one hand, it is hierarchical structure as well as CNN and uses multi-stage. In each stage, it consists of multiple attention layers as well as a transformer. On the other hand, it maintains the grid structure locally by incorporating convolution into transformer layers. After fusing both structures together, it can more easily capture the relationship between nearby tokens while keeping the ability to model global information. Meanwhile, some similar architectures like swing, vision nonformer, C-swing, and focal transformer emerged and demonstrate its remarkable improvement over vanilla vision transformer and CNN models in diverse vision tasks. Here we show some key results. On the right side table, we show CVT performs much better than strong CNN model BIT and vision transformer when this large-scale pre-training model are transferred to classification downstream tasks. On the left figure, we show the CVT achieves consistently better accuracy than other concurrent works with different model size. We're curious about if the manually designed CVT is optimal structures or not. A more amazing thing is CVT with NAS, denoted by the star, can get much better performance in terms of model size and quality. How do we achieve it? As a part of modernized AI systems, NAS technology can reduce the time in model developing and lower uncertainty. Model design and optimization can be done automatically by machine learning. Search the best architecture in the whole model space is NP-hard problem. We solve this problem with two steps: dampening a small portion of architecture performance pairs and fit in a proxy accuracy predictor. We seek a progressive line of weak predictors that can connect a path to the best architecture, thus greatly simplifying the learning tasks of each predictor. By cost-to-fine iteration, our framework can find the optimal architectures eventually. As a result, the search optimal CVT model achieved higher classification accuracy, with lower flops and parameters than CVT baseline. When we get close up to two architectures, NAS helps find the common design principle for us, like the bottleneck designing and prefer more dimensions for projection layers. NAS framework has become indispensable to build foundation models. The demand of in-labels is another issue to potentially block our large-scale pre-training. Self-supervised learning or unsupervised learning is making significant progress. Currently, there is still performance gap between unsupervised learning and supervised learning in transferring to downstream tasks. The illustration shows the comparison between the future clustering of target data after applying vanilla unsupervised model and the supervised model respectively. Every cluster cannot be isolated from each other by unsupervised learning compared with supervised learning. Our recent study shows improving unsupervised learning by transductive way can lead to better field label transfer, which is critical to generalization. We modify the pre-training and fine-tuning workflow. In unsupervised pre-training, we mix up small portions of unlabeled target data with massive unlabeled source data. In fine-tuning, we adopt an active learning way to only label few target samples. By this way, we achieve much better generalization in field label transfer than vanilla unsupervised pre-training MoCoV2 and supervised pre-training BIT. More gains are achieved on field label setting, shown on the right side of the table. We would further demonstrate optimal architecture and self-supervised learning in building foundation models for local object-level representation learning. To achieve better object-level representation, we will unify the object detection head architecture called dynamic head to make it scale-aware, spatial-aware, and task-aware simultaneously. Given the feature pyramid achieved from backbone, we decompose attention mechanisms into three sequential attention modules: a scale-aware attention along the pyramid levels, spatial-aware attention along the 2D spatial location XY axis, and task-aware attention along feature channels. Compared with full attention used in transformer layers, such decoupled attentions used in dynamic head can be more efficient for learning. This new dynamic head can achieve much better generalization and consistently improve any kinds of object detection framework as a plug-in module. Besides, when pre-trained on more data with pseudo bounding box and self-learning, it achieved single model state-of-art in the MS COCO benchmark. It pushes forward the success of building foundation models for a global representation learning towards local representation learning. As a summary, visual representation learning benefits from foundation models trained from big data with advanced and optimized architecture and self-supervised learning for better transfer. Three key factors help extend its capabilities from global representation to local representation, which will offer a unified stack to serve a wide range of computer vision tasks. Okay, thanks for my talk.